I fall down, my nose starts bleeding. My nose has never looked the same. It looked a different way before this incident.
Novocaine is an action comedy with a twist you're gonna have to see to believe, because you're definitely not gonna be able to feel it. Here to tell us more are the stars of the movie, Jack Quaid, Amber Midthunder, and Jacob Batalon. Thank you guys so much for joining me today to talk about Novocaine. Very nice to see you. It's an action comedy that has a pretty unique premise. Could you tell us a little bit about Nathan Kane's condition and how that affects the movie?
Yeah, no, so Nate is a person with a very rare genetic disorder where he can't feel any pain. And you would think that might be kind of a blessing, like, oh, it'd be great to not feel pain. But actually, it's quite debilitating for him. He kind of has to live his life inside of a bubble, you know, like all the corners on his tables at home have this like that baby-proofing foam on them. He has to consume most of his meals through like a shake because he could accidentally bite his tongue off and not know. It kind of keeps him at a distance with the world. But then he at his job, he works at a bank. He falls in love with Sherry, who's played by Amber. And one day the bank gets robbed, she gets kidnapped, and Nate has to risk everything to save her, and he kind of turns his disability into a superpower to do it.
It leads to a lot of really, really gruesome injuries on Nathan's part throughout the movie. I saw it a few days ago. It's a ton of fun, and I'm somebody that's a big fan of horror. I have a pretty strong stomach, and there are multiple moments in this movie that absolutely made me sick. Do you guys have a favorite injury that Nathan sustains in the movie, or maybe one that especially made you a little sick to your stomachs?
I think I think I have a lot of fun watching The House.
Yeah.
The house sequence. That one to me is just like, there's something about the way that you navigate that one. And they're like, I think it's very funny to me. Like the kitchen one to me is very impressive and it's like exciting. The house to me is so funny. And then the way that you guys like the way that your characters handle that, I think like as an audience member was the most fun for me.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I loved working with you.
No, for sure. That was great.
That was great. Yeah, I think at that point, fun. Nate's just kind of mad. Like he's not like the injuries are not quite shocking to him anymore. He's just like a little bit upset and a little pissed that it's going this way. And I think,
I think definitely the glass in your hands.
Yeah.
The faux Wolverine was solid.
Oh, yeah. For me, I think the thing that really got me, and like it's all, you know, when I was shooting it, all of it's like on my body, and we have an amazing prosthetics team that did such a good job making it seem real. But so I didn't really get squeamish at a ton of them, but the one that really got me was at one point someone pulls my fingernails off, and that just really, and I'm seeing it, I know it's fake, but I'm like, oh wow, no.
That actually makes me feel sick right now.
Like I'm so sorry.
It's like inside there too, and it, oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'm hearing that.
I'm so sorry.
It's pretty rough.
Sorry, it's fine.
Jack, obviously, this character cannot feel pain. You can. Were there any times where you blew a take because maybe you took a punch or a hit in a way that you actually reacted to in a way you shouldn't have?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was really hard for me to, like the biggest challenge, I think, in the fight scenes, and we have an amazing fight choreography team that really, you know, we rehearsed these things a ton, but the biggest challenge for me was not showing pain. It's a natural human response, you know. I feel like on other stuff I've done, if I ever have a stunt sequence, you know, you want to show that, like, you want to wince, you know, that's like what a person does. And just kind of unmarrying that very natural reaction from the things that were happening to me, and trying to find kind of a fighting style for him, because yeah, if I get punched in the face, I'm not going to wince, but my head still has to move with that. And Nate, it's a lot of like confirming with his own eyes that things are actually still intact. Like if he gets punched in the arm, or he thinks he gets punched in the arm, he has to like look it over to make sure everything's okay. So yeah, that was the biggest challenge. And now I'm kind of ruined for other projects that I do. I noticed that I'll take hits on other things and like not react, and people are going to be like, no, you need to like react to that punch. I'm like, oh yeah, right, cool. Okay. No, stop it.
What's the most painful on-set injury that you've had? Like, does anything come to mind?
I will say one time I came to set with an injury right before I had a big stunt sequence.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was in the gym and I had I was very into CrossFit at the time, and I was doing this thing called toes to bar, and with my feet fully up in the air, I fell off of the bar, and so I fell just like on my back, and I immediately couldn't walk, and I had like I had like an action sequence like the next week, and I came to work on crutches. I didn't know at the time. I was so young. I like didn't tell anyone. I just showed up on crutches.
What happened? How did you?
Sheer panic. Everyone was panicked immediately.
Did
it got done.
Forced yourself to do it? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that was not like an onset injury, but close.
I got a rash from the wires. And I got a rash from like the wires, you know, when you put on the harness.
Oh yeah.
I got a really crazy rash on my undercarriage.
I was gonna say where?
My undercarriage, and I remember it fondly.
Way to push through.
That's good. That was good.
For me, I remember mine was similar to Amber's, where it happened right before my very first day shooting on The Hunger Games. I'm 19. It's my first movie. They're having us work out all the time. It's my first time working out without a trainer. And, I had this amazing guy kind of bringing me through all these exercises. And one of the exercises was I would have a medicine ball. I would like slam it onto the ground, pick it up, and slam it again. And I remember it was like day before I was starting to shoot my first big movie. I'm in the gym for the first time by myself, no trainer. See the medicine ball.
This is going.
I take the medicine ball, I slam it. It bounces up, hits me right in the face, and my nose starts. I fall down, my nose starts bleeding. My nose has never looked the same. It looked a different way before this incident.
You must have slammed it so hard.
It was like the ones in New York when I was with the trainer, they didn't bounce.
They're like heavy weighted medicine balls. They're not supposed to bounce, right?
Yeah, no, come on. Why are you bouncing? Because you're getting low.
You just got so strong.
I know, and if you if you really look deep in the background of this shot in The Hunger Games, my nose is like a bullet.
Oh,
it's just so swollen. Yeah.
Wow.
Great first day. It's so good.
Did you tell people beforehand, or you just showed up?
It was obvious.
Okay.
A lot of times these days, we see action movies that have these massive, huge, world-ending stakes, but Novocaine is a lot more condensed and character-based. What was nice about playing an action movie from that perspective rather than something that has these sort of like universally, scary stakes?
I love that you said that, because I think that was kind of the goal with this movie for a while. We wanted to tell a character-based action story because those, to me, are my favorites. Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, those kind of late 80s to early 90s action movies where, it's not about the fate of the universe. It's really about, is John McClane going to get his wife back and save everyone who works at that office? Like, I love the smaller stakes, and it's still high stakes, but they're personal stakes. And hopefully people invest in the relationship between Nate and Sherry. And I love that, just speaking on my character personally, I just think he's such a sweetheart. He's like the biggest sweetie I've ever played, which I love. And I love that he, this is a journey of him like stepping out into the world for the first time. He doesn't really have any like real world experience, and it's this insane of a film. So I love that it's so down to earth and character based.
I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
Hey, there we go.
Oh my God, you're a superhero.
Who are your favorite action heroes of all time?
I will say something that was very cool about this movie was the gym that we trained at in South Africa. They had trained the women from the Woman King.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I'm such a big Viola Davis fan. I loved The Woman King. And so, coming in to that environment when it's like we hadn't met this team before and it was like a brand new, none of us had been to Cape Town. They have this room in the gym where everyone signs the wall. And so we got to like go in and see the signatures of all the women who had trained for The Woman King. And that was so cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. Let me tell you who my favorite action hero of all time is. Amber. You were so good at Trey. You were such a badass.
Stop.
And I remember knowing that you were going to play Sherry, I was like, oh man, I got to work really hard. Be as badass as you. It's insane.
Oh, right though.
But
That's very sweet.
Like, hell yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, you can say your real answer now.
No, that was it.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, those are all solid choices. I genuinely like. Let's say the Pink Power Ranger. from
Also,
Mighty
very
Morphin
good.
Power Rangers. She's really great.
Amy Jo Johnson, goated. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Guys, that is all the time I have with you, unfortunately. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Novocaine hits theaters March 14th. There is plenty more Fan Fest to come. Do not go anywhere.